Hi, guys. Today I'm going to talk to you about something, and I'm going to say the word, which you've probably already seen in the title of the video. And this word sometimes immediately turns people off, and that word is journaling. So either people love journaling, or they hate it, or maybe you haven't really had much experience with it. But we're going to talk about journaling and why it is so amazing and why I think that journaling really can be for everybody, whether or not you've had previous journaling experience or not. What I've found with people who are hesitant about journaling or who are like, journaling's not really my thing, it's they haven't really found the right type of journaling for them, because there are so many different ways to journal. It's not just sitting down and writing like, "Dear diary, today Jimmy looked at me in class." Like, it's not, like 1950s like storybook type of journaling, although that is a type of journaling. There's so many different types of journaling and so many different benefits that you can get from it. It really is something that is absolutely amazing that I think pretty much everybody should be doing. So we're going to quickly kind of talk about some of the benefits of journaling as well as different types of journaling, just to give you an idea of it's not just like one way of doing things. It really can be super personalized. You can even do different types of journaling if you want, or just stick with one type. But it really is so freaking amazing for our minds, bodies, and spirits. And it's just, you need to give it a try. All right, I guess we'll just jump immediately into the benefits of journaling, because I think when people hear the benefits, then they're a little more willing to be like, okay, let me give this a try. So there are lots of them, and I'm not going to get into like super specifics about the benefits and the types of journaling, because I'll tell you why towards the end of the video. But I also want to try to keep this video not like 17 hours long. So anyway, some of the benefits of journaling are that you get to know yourself. You get to know yourself on a completely different level than you might in your just waking normal life. You really get to know yourself. You really get to know your thoughts and kind of how your thoughts work and how your thoughts flow, which can be really, really important in helping you kind of figure out why you act the way you do, or why you react the way you do to certain things. And it just really kind of helps you to get to know yourself, which, I mean, we all need to get to know ourselves. We live with ourselves every day. So you probably want to know who you are. It can help you work through your feelings and emotions. So I know a lot of us, I'm guilty of this too. Sometimes we like to just kind of ignore our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions. But that never works. That never, ever works. They're always there. They're always bubbling beneath the surface. And until we deal with our thoughts and feelings and emotions, they show up in our lives in different ways, kind of screaming at us to acknowledge them. So by journaling, you can work through those feelings and emotions in a healthy, productive way. It also reduces stress. I mean, hello, if we're dealing with the things that are stressing us out or causing us some anxious feelings or to feel sad or angry, when we're working through those feelings in a productive and healthy way, it releases our stress because we're acknowledging it and we're facing it. And a big part of our stress is the denial of our issues and the denial of our unpleasant feelings and emotions. So by journaling, you're working through that, so you automatically reduce your stress, which we could all stand to have less stress in life. It helps you work through problems, like I said. So it helps you kind of see things from another angle, I like to think. So you're journaling, and it kind of helps you to get a different perspective on things, maybe. It kind of helps you to maybe tap into some feelings and emotions that you've been ignoring. Because when we journal, and here's the thing too, some people say, well, can I have a journal that I use on my computer or whatever? And that's fine, you can. But really, to get like the major benefits of journaling, you want to journal in like a notebook or something, like physically writing it out. There's something about physically writing it. It helps to kind of transmute that energy and move that energy from your thoughts and from the internal into the external. And yeah, technically when you're typing, you're moving, but it's just not quite the same as like physically writing. It also becomes very meditative, which that's one of the benefits. It's like a mindfulness exercise because you're mindfully paying attention to writing, kind of a little more than you do when you're just typing. I know, like me, I can type really fast, and so I'm not always paying attention to like the actual act of typing. Whereas when I'm writing, I'm seeing the pen move across the paper, I'm feeling my hand make the letters. So it's a lot more meditative and a lot more mindful to physically write your journal. And it just really helps you to kind of move that energy. But when we're writing in our journal, we're able to really connect with both our left and right minds. So we're doing the writing. So our left analytical mind is busy because it's thinking about forming the letters and spelling the words and all of that. And so it kind of gives our left brain a task, a job. And so then our right brain, our creative, intuitive, feeling, and emotional side of our brain, it gives it a chance to really speak up and be heard and communicate. So it's really such an excellent way to kind of tap into both sides of our brains, which a lot of the time we don't do in our waking lives, especially because we're so busy and we've got a lot going on, and it's really hard to kind of work with both sides of our brains at the same time. So journaling and writing helps do that. So yeah, it helps bring about mindfulness for that. And then it also helps work through problems because you're able to actually hear your right side of the brain, which creatively comes up with solutions to problems. I find that, our left brain can do that as well, but usually our right brain, when we listen to our creative side and our intuition, we're able to get things kind of on a deeper level. And then we can work with the left brain to kind of come up with a game plan. But a lot of the creativity and coming up with a game plan and stuff happens with our right side of the brain. So when we have our left analytical brain busy, it gives our right brain a chance to come up with creative solutions for things. So journaling, another benefit is it helps you set your intentions and set your goals. So it's one thing to just be like, I want to do this. I want to achieve this month, which is awesome. And you don't need to journal, I guess, to really effectively manifest your intentions and desires and goals. But journaling really helps it because you're putting even more energy into it. So it's not just like, oh, I have a thought of an idea of something I want to manifest in my life. You're then sitting down and physically writing it out. And it's almost like you're bringing that intention into the physical reality. So you're taking it from just a thought, which our thoughts are extraordinarily powerful. And technically all you need is your thoughts. But as humans, we also like to see something tangible. So by physically writing out your goals and your intentions and what you're wanting to manifest, you're just kind of solidifying that even more into this physical reality. And it can kind of help you to break down like, okay, well, what am I going to do to achieve this? And how do I feel about achieving this? And it just really brings intention setting and manifestation to a whole nother level, which is awesome. It boosts your creativity and language. You're using your left brain and your right brain. And so it just naturally, you start to get a little more in tune with language, whether it's your own language, or maybe you want to start to, like, after you've journaling for a while and you're like, I use the same word to describe whatever all the time. So maybe you use extravagant as a word all the time. You're like, all right, I'm sick of using the word extravagant. So you may look in the thesaurus and come up with a different word that you could use for extravagant. So it can help you with your language. It also helps you with your communication because you're learning. Remember, we're learning more about ourselves and our thoughts by journaling. So it helps you communicate. It helps you communicate more with yourself and how your thoughts and emotions work with your words. So you're therefore then able to be a more effective communicator. You can communicate so much better because you know how your thoughts and your words and your emotions work together. So you're able to more easily convey those to others. So it's really awesome not only to communicate with yourself, but to help you communicate with others as well. It boosts your creativity also because you're using your words. You're putting your thoughts and your emotions into words, which is creative. Writing is a form of creativity. That's not to say you are going to become some amazing writer. You might, but it is a form of creativity, and our souls love and yearn to create. That's how we express ourselves. So by writing, you're able to express your soul, which is super powerful. You're also able to increase your memory, to kind of boost your memory. So especially if you're writing about a memory. So maybe you are writing about your day, or you're writing about the trip that you just took, or maybe you're writing about an incident from when you were a child. It just kind of the same thing with the intentions, how it solidifies the intention into the physical. It's sort of taking your memory and solidifying it into the physical. And so it just helps you really kind of remember things on a different level. So it helps you to then be able to recall those memories more easily. And then also, I mean, you have it there written down. So 10 years from now, you can go back and read your journal and be like, oh my God, yeah, I remember that. And it may be something that you wouldn't have remembered had you not written it down. And then finally, it increases your mind, body, spirit connection. So like we already talked about how it works with both sides of your brain. It's literally working with your mind, body, and spirit. It's physically doing the writing. It's working with your mind. It's using your spirit and your soul to communicate. It's like the number one thing that you can do. I mean, meditation, journaling, it's all amazing. So let's get into just some types of journaling really quick, because that's another thing that I hear a lot is like, well, I don't like journaling. I don't like to just sit down and write, today I went to the grocery store and blah, blah, blah. You can totally do that. That's perfectly fine. But that is not the only form of journaling. So if you're somebody that doesn't like that type of journaling, good news, you don't have to do that. So here are some types of journaling that you can do. So there is the stream of consciousness or the free-flowing journaling. And that literally is where you sit down to journal and you write. And you're just literally writing everything that comes to your mind. And it doesn't matter if it makes sense, if it's proper sentence structure, even if you spell things incorrectly, maybe you stop in the middle of a sentence and start writing another sentence, it's totally fine. It's literally writing down whatever thoughts are coming through your mind. Even if those thoughts are, I don't know what to write right now. I'm literally thinking of nothing. All I'm thinking about is my pen moving across this paper. Like you're literally writing out your thoughts. But what it does is it helps you get into that rhythm of writing. It helps you get into that rhythm of listening to your thoughts and getting it out onto paper. And usually what happens when you do this kind of stream of consciousness writing is you learn how your thoughts work. You learn how maybe how you go from like one thought to the next, and you can kind of go back and read and see how your mind flows from one thing to the next. Also, usually when we sit down, we kind of do that stream of consciousness. It kind of becomes that meditative, mindful moment with our left brain being kind of busy. And then it gives our right brain that chance to be like, oh, it's my chance to speak up now. And so you may have some really awesome, like creative ideas that come out, or maybe some things that you've been kind of trying to ignore and push back into the back of your mind. These things may start to come forward. So it's kind of cool to see what comes through when you do that just kind of free flow writing. Some days though, you may sit down and it may just literally be, I have no idea what I'm writing. Why am I doing this? This is kind of boring. This is kind of stupid. You may have days like that. And then other days you may have some really awesome stuff that comes through. So that's one type of journaling. Another is making lists or having like a bullet journal type thing. And this could just literally be like writing down, maybe you want to do this at the end of the day, and just making a list of like the things that happened that day. You could start out like, I woke up and I felt this way. Then I went to the grocery store. Then I was hungry and I made this to eat. And it could just literally be a list of like the activities that you did that day, or maybe a list of like how you felt throughout the day, whatever it is. It's just, the point is you're writing and you are getting it out. So it can be, a list. It doesn't even have to be complete sentences. You can do a conversation. This is really good. This comes in handy really, really well for the mind, body, spirit connection and like healing yourself and working through things, is a conversation writing. So this can be, there's so many different ways to do the conversation writing. It can be a conversation with yourself. So it could be a conversation with like yourself now. So maybe you're wanting to work through a situation, and maybe you and your best friend got into an argument, and so you're wanting to work through that, and you're talking to yourself like, well, why did we feel this way? And I felt that way because blah, blah, blah. And, maybe my feelings were hurt because of this. You could also have that conversation between yourself and your friend. You could do an imaginary conversation. Hey, friend, you said this and it made me feel this way. And then you could like write out what you would think your friend would say and play it out that way with writing. An awesome way to do this is a conversation between you and a past version of yourself. So maybe a conversation between you and like your 16-year-old self. Maybe there was something that you went through when you were 16 and you're really wanting to work through that. What would you say? What would your current self say to your 16-year-old self? What do you think your 16-year-old self would say back to you? And you can write that out, a conversation between you and a younger version of yourself. You could even do that with you and a future version of yourself. Another cool thing to do is between you and a body part of yourself, because our bodies are constantly holding on to memories and energy, and it can really be beneficial to communicate to your body. Our bodies are always, always talking to us. And when we tune in, we listen to what our bodies are saying, we can have profound insight and healing. So maybe, I mean, it sounds kind of goofy too. You may be like, what the hell? Like, but maybe you have been having a lot of knee pain. And so you can sit down and like write to your knee, as goofy as that sounds. Hey, knee, I've been noticing that you have been having a lot of pain and discomfort lately. You know, like, why do you think that is? And then you can just kind of then respond as your knee. And it may be a little goofy, but you will be surprised at kind of like what comes up and what you can work through. This is also really big with like womb healing, because our wombs as women hold a lot of stuff. So really kind of tuning in and listening to what your womb has to say can be really, really freaking powerful. And it can be, yeah, so between yourself, like your future, past, current self, even conversations with your body, conversations with others. You can also, this is kind of similar, the conversation, it's writing a letter. So it may not necessarily be you imagining both sides of conversation. It could just be a letter, you know, telling yourself or somebody else how you feel. It could even be a letter to your body. I recently did this with my womb. I've been trying to work through something specific involving my womb space. And so I wrote my womb space a letter and it was really freaking powerful, you know, and I wrote it out and I wrote everything that I was feeling and thinking and apologizing as well. And really working through that. And it can be really powerful. So you can do that again, a letter to yourself, your past self, your future self, your body, your spirit, a spirit guide even. It's endless, the options. You can do topic-oriented journal entries where you come up with a specific topic. So today I want to talk about trees. How do I feel about trees? And you can write that out. A good way to figure out topics also is I love to use tarot and oracle cards as inspiration. So I'll pull a card for the day and think of like what the message is, and I'll write about that topic in my journal. You can also use like books and movies and stuff as inspiration, or read a quote and use that as inspiration. Like, what does that quote make you feel? How does that apply to your life? And again, this can be like full-on sentences, or you can do like lists. This makes me feel this way, this way, this way, and this way. You can do, like we said, the more like Dear Diary version of a journal, which is kind of just like what happened in your day. These are actually really kind of nice to do as a family even. You can write these out as a family to go back and be like, oh, like this happened on this day, especially if it's kind of maybe if you had like a really good day. It's also good also to write just like, even if nothing amazing happened that day, it was just a normal day, to write it down. My grandma does this a lot. And it's really kind of cool to go back because I'll read some of her, she shares it with me. I'm not just like sneaking into her room and stealing her journal to read. But it'll be, you know, just these short little entries of like something that, like an afternoon that she spent with me when I was like 5 years old. And it's just really interesting because she'll include just, you know, we went to the park today and Sharice was talking about the clouds, and she'll like write down what I said about the clouds. So you can do that kind of thing for like a family journal, or even just for yourself. But it's especially fun if you do have kids to like kind of just write down like, you know, we went to the park today and my son was talking about the trees and this is what he was thinking. Oh, my doorbell rang. Speaking of my son, it's his friends wanting to play with him. Let's see. And then I was almost done anyway. So what else? Oh, a gratitude journal where you just write down everything you're grateful for that day and thankful for. That can kind of go hand in hand with like the daily journal. You know, you can put what happened that day, you know, what you experienced, and then what you're thankful for that day. And then that's really it that I wanted to get into, but that just goes to show you right there that is so much inspiration and so many different types of journaling and so many different ways you can do this and so many benefits. It really, really is amazing. And with that being said, I am going to be going in a lot more detail about journaling and how to journal and journaling accountability and all that good stuff in a journaling workshop that I am giving to my patrons on Patreon. I have a new Patreon account, which I'm so excited about. And if you are on a patron of mine, tier 5 or higher, you get this workshop for free. So it's going to be some PDFs, some videos, some posts and accountability and everything. It's going to be really awesome. So head on over. I'll post the link somewhere in the description for this podcast episode, or if you're watching on YouTube, in the YouTube description. But it's patreon.com/Sharice Williams. And by contributing to my Patreon and being a patron, not only do you get this workshop, but you get so many other awesome monthly content that is exclusive to my patrons on Patreon. And by contributing to Patreon, you get these awesome rewards. And you're also helping to continue to have the Goddess Life podcast up and running. You're contributing to helping this YouTube channel, which I really hope to kind of like upgrade my YouTube. So eventually I would love to like hire somebody to do the editing of the videos and all that cool stuff. So if you are liking my YouTube channel or you like this podcast, definitely think about being a contributor. And let's make this even more awesome and get out to even more people, because my mission is to help empower other women and help women connect their minds, bodies, and spirits to live freaking awesome goddess lives. So head on over to Patreon for all that information. And yeah, if you're listening to this on the podcast, go ahead and subscribe to this podcast, leave a review. That would be awesome. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe and give a thumbs up. And I will talk to all of you beautiful souls later. Peace and love, everybody.